My presentation today will focus on my research with international school leaders and their development of cultural intelligence. What are our learning goals for today? My hope is that you will develop an understanding of cultural intelligence and its elements or capabilities. Learn some strategies and skills that you can use to develop your cultural intelligence based on my participants' insights, and examine how cultural intelligence can be applied in your role as a leader within your organization, especially as we as leaders tackle those challenging issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what's my story? I say I'm from everywhere. I grew up in Canada, trained as an educator in the US, and began my teaching career there. Returned to Canada, where I became an administrator, first a vice principal and then a principal. I then moved to Beijing, China, as I said, where I was the preschool elementary principal at the Canadian International School of Beijing. As a leader in Ontario, I was very fortunate and I received a great amount of training, coaching, mentoring, and support to develop as a leader. I really felt that prior to moving to China, that my 11 years of experience had prepared me to apply my leadership skills and strategies in any context. But I was wrong. What I quickly discovered was that not all of my skills and experiences could be applied in my new context. I was frustrated. I felt challenged. There seemed to be a lack of understanding and barriers in my communication with stakeholders. During an IB workshop on culture and context, as we were doing as a leadership team, a light bulb went off. I began to recognize that the role of culture in leadership. Around this time, I decided to pursue my educational doctorate at Gonzaga. I decided to focus my problem of practice on looking at how international school leaders develop their cultural intelligence to lead in an international school. As part of my work, I conducted a qualitative research study with 8 international school leaders from a variety of countries, contexts, and leadership positions in different countries around the world. Leaders engaged in a reflective process that included reflective journaling, photo voice, and one-on-one interviews. Throughout my study, my participants acted as co-researchers and shared their insights on the following guiding questions. How do you define cultural intelligence? How do you demonstrate cultural intelligence in your work? How does cultural intelligence impact your work as a school leader, both positively and negatively? And what strategies, skills, and behaviors support the development of cultural intelligence? Today, I share their insights as well as my experiences as an international school leader with you. So take a minute. What does the term cultural intelligence mean to you? How would you define it? What are the critical elements that leaders need to be culturally intelligent? Hold this definition as we move forward. See what changes, shifts, or becomes clearer as we move through our time together. Here is a list of definitions that I presented to my participants in their reflective journaling exercise. I asked them to examine a variety of definitions gathered through Solomon and Stein's research study that looked at all of the definitions of cultural intelligence in research. You can see that there's many definitions of cultural intelligence. In general, these are based on individuals' need to adapt to new cultural contexts. This requires awareness, flexibility, and a specific set of skills. So take a minute and go back to your initial definition. Based on what you just saw, What might you add or change? Is there anything in your definition missing? Is there something you would like to remove? Have you shifted or changed your thinking, or have things become clearer as those definitions were presented? So, what did my participants say? Participants in my study felt that cultural intelligence should also include in the definition deep emotional connections with others. As an international school leader, you're often leaving your country of origin and moving into a new context. That means that you're leaving your family behind, often except your immediate family. And in my case, I went alone. So, in order to survive, to be successful, and feel a part of something, it does mean that you often do develop deep emotional connections with others in your new context. They also felt that cultural intelligence should include curiosity, open mindedness, and an eagerness to learn about others. Most of the individuals in my study are risk takers. In order to pack your things and move to a different context and try in a different country, that does involve a certain level of curiosity, open mindedness, and risk taking. They felt that cultural intelligence required an understanding of your own culture, a deep rootedness in your own culture, so that you had the ability to understand the new culture in which you were living and working, and that you needed the ability to look at your own biases and stereotypes, which often came from your own culture. They also felt cultural intelligence was enriched with diverse experiences and backgrounds. Many of them were from multicultural families. Some of them had partners from different cultures, and